Massa, show de bola demais. This is where we stopped in the last episode here, okay? This yellow sentence, Claudius was talking to Polonius. Polonius left, and then Claudius says, "Oh my God, my crime is wicked, is crazy, is evil, is mean, demeaning. It's a crazy crime. It is the oldest and worst of crimes. A brother's murder. My hand is covered with my brother's blood." So, uh, in the end of the last episode, I was just telling you, talking to you about the fact that Shakespeare is making a reference here to the biblical passage where Cain murdered Abel, okay? Where Cain assassinated, murdered, killed Abel, okay? It's the first registered murderer in the history of humankind. It's the first time in history that we have a register that somebody was murdered. It's Cain murdering, killing, assassinating Abel. Okay? That's why Claudius is saying it's the oldest, the earliest, the primeval, the first, older than any other crime in history. This crime is older than any other crime. It's the oldest. What kind of crime? When a brother murders another brother, like Cain murdering Abel, assassinating Abel, like Claudius murdering his brother, the king, Hamlet's father. Okay? And then we also spoke about the next sentence here. My hand is covered with my brother's blood. At the end of the last episode, I was just telling you how in English we use this expression, hands covered in blood, to talk about when someone is guilty. Guilty is the opposite of innocent. Okay? When someone is being convicted, accused of a crime, at the end of the trial, at the end of the process, at the end of considering evidences, listening to the witnesses, ouvindo as testemunhas, considerando as evidências, at the end of the trial, no final do julgamento, the convicted will be found, will be considered. They will be considered, found, declared guilty or innocent. So, at the end of the last episode, I was just telling you that In English, when we say hands covered in blood, I showed you the picture. I showed you the picture. Let's take a look at it again. Hands covered in blood. Hands covered in blood. That's it. I was just telling you that in English, when you say or when you tell somebody you have your hands covered in blood, like here in the book, hands covered in blood, what you may be talking about assassination. It's possible, but you can also be talking about you are guilty. You are not innocent. You have your hands covered in blood, so you are guilty. You are responsible. You are not innocent. It's usually, obviously, usually used to talk about crimes where somebody was murdered, killed, assassinated, of course. But you will sometimes find this expression, hands covered in blood, referring to responsibility, to be guilty, not innocent, and there isn't a crime involved. Okay? Okay? And then let's continue. Let's continue reading the book. Claudius says, isn't there rain enough in the sweet sky to wash it clean? Of course, it's a metaphor. It's a figure of speech, uh, uh, as many other parts in the book. If we are reading Shakespeare, for God's sake. Okay, so after all, we are talking about Shakespeare. So many figures of speech, many metaphors, várias metáforas, figuras de linguagem, okay? So, isn't there water sufficient? Or isn't there rain enough? Isn't there rain in a quantity that it's sufficient, the minimum necessary? When you say enough, it's about having the minimum necessary, the minimum amount, the minimum quantity of something that is necessary to do something else. So, isn't there rain enough? Isn't there the rain, the minimum rain necessary to wash my crime away, to remove it, to do what Omo, sabão Omo does? Omo washes our clothes clean, removing the stains away. Stains. Check it out. Stains. That's a good word to check the image. Okay? Here. So, if you check the picture on the screen, if you are with me on Spotify, on iTunes, on podcast, it's the picture of coffee spilled on the rug. Café derramado no tapete. So, if you spill coffee on the rug or on your shirt, there's going to be a stain. There's going to be a stain. And if there is a stain, what we do is we wash it. And then we use Omo, uh, IP, whatever, to wash our clothes. So, what Claudius is saying here is, isn't there the rain necessary? Isn't there rain enough to wash my crime away, to wipe it clean, to wipe it out, to wash it clean, to remove it like Omo IP does, or like they do, like Omo does, like IP does with stains. Omo removes stains on our clothes, for example. So, to remove, to wash my crime away. And then he says, back to the book, I want to speak to God, but what can I say? Forgive me for my brother's murder? I can't say that. The murder has given me my dreams and my queen. With these things, I can buy everything except God's forgiveness. So, I believe you are familiar with the word forgive. But if you aren't, when somebody hurts you, when somebody does you wrong, when somebody lies to you, robs you, abuses of you, somebody humiliates you, when somebody hurts you, when somebody betrays you, betrayal, the opposite of loyalty, okay? Traição, when somebody betrays you, abuses of you, humiliates you, robs you, lies to you, hurts you, you have two options: revenge or forgive. Whenever, every time somebody, every time somebody hurts you, lies to you, robs you, abuses of you, talks on your back, fala mal de você pelas costas, talks on your back, gossips about you, fofoca de você, abuses of you, humiliates you, betrays you, you have two options. You can seek revenge, as we discussed in the book. Hamlet is looking for revenge. He wants to punish his uncle for having murdered his father. This is exactly what Hamlet is doing. He is seeking, looking for revenge. Okay? It's when you want someone to be punished, to suffer for what they did to you. So if they hurt you, if they lied to you, if they robbed you, if they abused of you, if they humiliated you, if they betrayed you, if they talked on your back, and you want revenge, what you want is that they suffer, that they pay for what they did, that they are punished for what they did. This is revenge mindset. On the other hand, contrarily to revenge, we have forgiveness. Forgiveness is what Jesus spoke about, told us about. Forgiveness, to forgive, is what God says. It's what Jesus commands. Forgive those who did you wrong. Forgive those who hurt you. Forgive those who do you something wrong or something bad. Okay? So, revenge is the opposite of forgive. And then, here, let's check it again, the book. What what Claudius is saying is, I want to speak to God, but what can I say? Forgive me for my brother's murder? I can't say that. The murder has given me my dreams, my country, and my queen. And with these things, I can buy everything except God's forgiveness. So, what Claudius means, or what he is saying, is, I want to speak to God, but I would be a hypocrite. If I did that. It would be so shallow, so superficial, so fake. I would be such a hypocrite. It would be so, or I would be a hypocrite. It would be so shallow, so superficial, so fake, if I went to God and said, oh, forgive me for my brother's murder. Because Claudius doesn't actually regret what he did. You can only ask for forgiveness if you really regret, if you really repent. Felipe, come on, just a minute. Vou explicar. Some people, after they do something wrong, they regret, they repent. What is this? Is when you say, no. Por exemplo, briga de casal. Couples argument. Geralmente a gente fala um bando de coisa que a gente não queria na hora, e aí depois we say many things we didn't want, we didn't mean. And after the discussion, after the argument, we say, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done it. No. That is when you regret. It's when you repent. It's when you say, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have said it. Se eu pudesse, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have said what I said. I would have done differently. This is when you regret. This is when you repent. Se arrepende. And if you don't regret, if you don't repent, there is no point in asking for forgiveness. That's the point. Why or how are you going to ask for forgiveness if you didn't even regret? Or if you don't even regret what you did? If you don't even feel sorry for what you did? Você nem se sente mal, você nem se arrependeu. How are you going to ask for forgiveness? Before we ask for forgiveness, we must repent. We must regret what we did. Ok? Primeiro precisamos nos arrepender. Then we ask for forgiveness. That's why Claudius is saying, how am I want to speak to God, but how if I didn't regret? Or if I haven't regret? Desde que eu cometi até agora, I haven't regretted. I haven't repented. I don't regret what I did because the crime gave me all my dreams, my wife, the queen, the country, everything. So I like the consequence, the result of the crime. I don't regret. I don't repent. I haven't regretted. I haven't repented. How am I going to ask for forgiveness? I would like. There is a part of me that wants to speak to God. I would like, I want. But what can I say? How can I go to God? Claudius speaking. How can I go to God and say, oh, forgive me for my brother's murder if I haven't regretted? If I haven't repented, se eu não estou arrependido. I would be a hypocrite. It would be so shallow, so superficial, so fake of me to do that. Okay? So, he says, what can I do? What am I going to do now? How can I ask for forgiveness if I'm not really sorry? If I haven't regretted? If I haven't repented? How am I going to speak to God and ask for forgiveness if I am not really sorry? Oh my God, my position is impossible. Help me, God. My heart is as hard as a stone, and my knees refuse to touch the ground. But I must try to speak to you. If I succeed, perhaps everything will be all right. he goes slowly down on his knees and his bed, by his bed, and puts his hands together, praying. Okay? Uh, so let's check some things here. Let's remember knees. Okay? Knees. Praying on your knees like this, to go down, to bow down, to go down on your knees to pray. Okay? Like in the picture. Uh, and what else? Okay, so let's check Claudius's words again. Oh, my position is impossible. Help me, God. My heart is as hard as stone. In other words, my heart is as hard as stone. The same. It's the comparison of equality, not harder than, as hard as stone, as rich as he is, the same, as fast as light, the same speed, not faster, not richer, not harder, but the same, the same, okay? Comparison of equality, as hard as stone. Okay, so the same, the hardness of his heart equals that of a stone. My heart is as hard as a stone, and my knees refuse. They don't want to touch the ground. If you if you are a father or a mother, se você é pai ou uma mãe, and your children are 2, 3, 4 years old, probably when you say time to go to bed, they refuse. They say, no, I don't want to go. Probably when you say time to go to the shower, time to take a shower, probably they say, I don't want to go to the shower. They refuse. They say, no, I don't want. Probably when you say time to go to school, they refuse. Okay, they refuse. Time to have lunch. Oh, I don't want to have lunch. É a fase da birra. So they refuse everything. They say no, no, no. They are affirming themselves as a person. They are creating their identity, their self-identity. They are affirming themselves as a person, and they tend to refuse everything. They tend to say no to lots of things. They don't want to do 90% of what you tell them to do. Just because you said. They deny, they refuse, they go opposite ways of what you want. Okay, so in this case, my knees refuse to touch the ground. They oppose me all the time. I want to pray, but my knees refuse. They are making an opposition to me. They are saying no to what I want. They don't want to touch the ground. They refuse. They refuse to touch the ground. Okay? They refuse to touch the ground. But I must try to speak to you. I have to try to speak to God. There is no other option. I have to try to speak to God. I must. If I succeed, outro jeito de dizer isso, another way to say that would be if it works out, if what I am trying to do, my prayer, okay, talking to God, if it works out, if I succeed, if it works out, if I succeed, if my attempt to talk to God works out, if my attempt to pray to God, to talk to God, if it works out, if I succeed, everything will be all right. Okay? And then slowly, slowly, Claudius goes down on his knees by his bed, next to his bed. The bed, Claudius, by his bed. Sit by my side, sit next to me. Slowly he goes down on his knees and he puts by his bed and puts his hands together to pray. Okay? And we are going to stop here for today. Ok? Como sempre, pegue este áudio, este episódio, depois que você assistiu. Pega o áudio e ouça dezenas de vezes. Listening é o que vai te trazer fluência. Não adianta assistir a aula só. Não adianta. Não adianta, não adianta, não adianta, não adianta, não adianta. Não adianta assistir a aula só uma vez. Se você quer ser fluente, você tem que ouvir o áudio dezenas de vezes, ok? Então pega o áudio e devora ele até ficar tão simples quanto português. E a gente se vê. See you in the next episode. God bless you.